All right. Good evening, team, and welcome to your mindset and leadership call. I am just so excited to tell you guys about my weekend. I know we usually started out with wins or lessons learned, but I'd like to share a little something because I know that this past weekend for me on a personal level, um, wow, what are the words that come to my mind? Love, acceptance, unity, elegance, you name it. So I was actually going to attend a sort of what they call the awakening event. I had all these plans, y'all, all these plans to do this by myself. All right. This was my planned solo night. And you guys know I say all the time it's important that you love up on yourself. And one of my ways of loving up on myself is taking myself out on solo dates. So whether that's going out for, something I want to eat or going to see a movie. Well, this particular night, I really wanted to connect with my mind because I share with you all that around this time of the year, typically around the fall, winter time, I heavily battle seasonal depression. And I said, oh, no, no, no. We're not doing that this year. Okay. We're going to switch things up and we're not going to allow ourselves to be sad or wallow in our feelings. So the event that I went to this past weekend was for that. It was allowing me a place to feel like I needed to be grounded. It was an opportunity for me to just take a moment to just breathe and go from within and just really connect with the people that were there. And they were mostly representative of the LGBTQ plus community. So, I learned about voguing. I never heard about voguing. So if you don't know what that is, look it up. It's dope as hell. And then I was, invited to a black tie dinner. It was a fundraiser. And, my girl D invited me and it was free for us. Those tickets were $500 a pop. And it's just crazy what the universe will put you through in terms of what you manifest. And I know for Dee, that was something she really wanted to do without having to come out of pocket. So for her to have invited me to such an elevated and sophisticated event was, oh my God, it was so, so humbling and it was beautiful. So that was my win from this past weekend. Like I said, I was very gay, not literally, but I was hanging with the gays and it was just a space that made me feel so happy. You guys know that I'm an ally. So that being said, I'm gonna pass it over to Nikki. Nikki, you want to share a win or a lesson learned from this past week since our last mindset call?
Yeah, a win is I didn't order any takeout this weekend. It was all home cooked food. So saved a little money.
Saved a lot of money. You saved a lot of money. I say it all the time. If you have time to order food and wait for Uber, you have time to make your food and make it and actually eat it, right? So I'm very proud of you, Nikki. Keep that up, honey. I know you all see that belly, isn't it so cute?
I know. When are you due?
January 22nd.
Oh.
So around the corner.
Yes.
Just around the corner. Just around the corner. So we're excited.
How are you feeling?
Yeah.
I feel good. Just mostly tired sometimes.
Sure.
Sciatica, I guess, is starting to creep in because I'm entering third trimester now. So like my right side, even like while I'm standing cooking, is like kind of hurting. But other than that, it's been good. Smooth sailing. Can't complain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Nikki's the next member within Fitness Shield to pop out a baby. So we're just preparing for that, and I'm just so happy for you, Nikki. All right, Maggie, you want to go ahead and share a lesson learned or a win from the past week since we last had our mindset call?
I feel a little sarcastic because in Michigan here it snowed today, and so I feel like I stayed committed though to getting outside, even though the temperatures are down in the 40s and it's cold. Like today, it was so cold. I really just wanted to just go get on the couch and get under a blanket. But in Michigan, so this is a mindset you have to have. Come here, boy. Come here. You have to commit to getting out to acclimate. And it then doesn't really bother you. Like I will wear like you guys would probably come up here and wear the thickest ass coat in the world, right? And I'll walk out with probably just a long sleeve shirt on because you acclimate to it.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
it's hard though to get that mindset too. So I feel like it's a win, even though I was cussing up a storm when the snow was
Oh,
coming down.
I bet you were, and that is a huge win. And you're right, as a Texan girl, I am a bit of a wuss when it comes to the cold weather. I can't speak for Nikki, but Nikki's from Chicago. So Nikki, this go ahead. Y'all can connect.
I mean, I still wear thick ass coats in Chicago. It gets cold as hell. I'm a wuss when it comes to the cold too, but yeah, I am used to it because born and raised in Chicago. But it was cold here too.
Yeah.
It was cold this morning. I was like, "Whoa, need a coat."
It's been chilly. We've been leaving our windows open and not needing to put on the AC, so it's been nice. Obviously, I'm wearing a hoodie, so that just shows that the weather is changing, which actually is an amazing segue into our conversation tonight, team. So, one of the things that I have been seeing left and right, and even I've been a bit guilty of it, is the fact that, we are down to our last quarter. So, this is just a reminder, as we round out 2023, like just to take time for inventory, take time for space for you, and just really understanding what it is that you want for yourself. As you all know, we are doing a series here in terms of how to walk into your purpose, right? We've been going into the series of self accountability, setting up goals and systems in place, right? So today is really talking about self worth. All right. So sit back. This is going to get very uncomfortable for some of us here, right? Because the goal when it comes to evaluating your self worth, it's going to be a little uncomfortable. That's just the reality. And whether that is good or bad, it's just a matter of embracing sort of the unknown at times. And so I know oftentimes when we hear about being positive, right? It's like, okay, like I hear you want me to be positive. And that's what I would love to say as we go into, our last quarter of 2023, guys, stay positive, keep going, but the reality of it is like we have moments where we have self-doubt, where we, especially this time of the year, like, okay, are we really where we need to be right now in our lives, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, right? And so this is just a reminder here that if you are at that time in that space for yourself, I want you to really take note into things that I say here this evening, because one of these strategies, as far as finding out your self worth, is going to be applicable at some point in time, especially as we round out the year. And more importantly, it's important for us to focus on not setting those, New Year resolutions in the beginning of 2024, right? Like, I think it's important that we get ourselves in that mindset right now so that when January comes around, we're already in the flow of things. It kind of reminds me of what Maggie was just saying, like don't wait until January, February to step outside to get acclimated to the winter, right? Like get outside right now. So when that time hits and everyone's like trying to get acclimated or quote unquote get to their goals, right? You're already in the thick of things. You're already ahead of the pack. It reminds me of my weight loss journey. I started around this time last year, team, or back in 2019, right before the pandemic, because I knew with my seasonal depression and my value of my self-worth that I needed to do something, right? So we're going to talk about that and, just dive into a discussion really and be vulnerable this evening in terms of what that means for us. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen like I've always done before in the past, team. So you guys let me know if you can see it or not. But for me, I personally feel like just being able to see, the information for what it's worth and just being able to absorb that, to me, is the best way to go about this. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hit share my screen. All right. So we're going to continue with the How to Be Intentional About Your Calling and Purpose series. Tonight is going to be about your self-worth and believing in yourself, again. Okay. Because let's just be real. You know, we have moments where we find ourselves like, yes, I can do it. I can persevere. And then something happens and you stop, right? And so I want to let you know that there are several signs that tell you that your self-worth is starting to diminish. And I wanted to share with you personally some things that I've gone through. So maybe some of y'all can relate, maybe not, but this is the time to just really be vulnerable with you guys, not only as you all's fitness coach, but also just as a leader. And I think, you know, hopefully this will just have more conversations for us in the future. So, number one sign that you are actually diminishing your self-worth or it's starting to diminish is that you're confused. You oftentimes lack clarity on what it is you deeply desire. I will say this for me, you know, I notice that when I'm trying to be everywhere with things, I start to compare. I start to feel like I'm less than. And then honestly, this aura just fills me where I just feel like I'm not enough. And all of a sudden, I'm not focused on what it is that I need to do for me. Right? Who's been there before? Who's felt like they've lacked focus, or maybe they fell off from something that they truly wanted for themselves, but for some reason they lacked focus. Show of hands, team. Who's been there before? Okay. We've all been there. I mean, listen, like none of us here are perfect. And some of that falling off doesn't have to be anything like huge, right? So Maggie, go ahead and talk, love.
I was just saying, sometimes I don't know if I call it lack focus for me. What
Yeah.
happens to me is like I feel like I have a focus, but it's not clear.
Yes. Yeah.
And
So that's
so,
what I put. You lack clear
yeah,
focus. That's true. That's
yeah,
true.
that's what I have one, but the clarity is still developing. I look at it, it's still developing.
And we're going to talk about that. We're going to definitely talk about that because while you're still understanding the clarity of what it is that you want, right? What it is that you really desire in terms of your self-worth, you're going to be questioning yourself. You're going to be asking yourself, is this really who I am? Is this really what I authentically stand for? You're going to find yourself wondering if you have the confidence to really push forward towards something. And for me personally, I have a lot of insecurities and uncertainty that oftentimes pops up when I'm not able to make a decision. Okay. Again, these are my personal experiences. You know, if you were to think about, you know, your job or relationships, right? There are moments where we have to recognize our self worth. So keep in mind that this is applicable to literally anything in life. Sometimes I have been guilty of losing sight of who I truly am. And there are moments where I've actually coped with unhealthy strategies to feel more alive. You know, in my 20s, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was experimental. Okay. I let's just put it that way. You know, I was out there. I was wild. Okay. And that's an understatement. That is a huge understatement. But I realized that one, I was in my 20s, so I'm gonna give myself that grace. But two, you know, I look back on those times and I'm like, wow, like you really were trying to compensate for something that was really hurting deep down inside, and that it was my self-worth. Okay. Another thing here, you're vibing low. You're vibing low. Your light is dimmed. You're not just being yourself like you usually are, right? These are things that I've recognized within myself and within people too that I know personally that I'm like, oh no, like we are not doing that here. We are not diminishing our self-worth. And this is why I want to point these signs out to you on right now. So as you're setting yourself up for 2024, ask yourself, am I doing any of these things right now? If so, tune in, perk up a little bit, take some notes, because there's something within you that you're not taking responsibilities for. In other words, you're blaming others, you're not focusing on what you need to do, right? That is a way of telling you that you are diminishing your self-worth. And it's not okay. It's not okay. It happens though. And that's why I want to tell you to give yourself grace. So as we go into 2024 and we set ourselves up for the goals that we want, really ask yourself, where is my self-worth in all of this? Are these values aligned to me? Is this going to enrich my mind, my body, and my soul? Does this make me feel alive without having to cope with unhealthy habits? Those are the things you need to be asking yourself when it comes to your self-worth, okay? So let's talk about 6 strategies that I would recommend that you do in terms of as we go into the new year and you're, kind of finding yourself everywhere, you're being with family, you're being with friends, right? But I really want every one of you all to still focus on you as well. And one of the things that I would say is to figure out where your self-doubts are actually coming from. Like, where are those thoughts actually coming from? Right? There is a voice within all of us, that nasty inner critic within all of us that says, you're not enough, you're not worthy, you're not meant to be in this room or on this table, right? You're not meant to be in the status that you are in life. I need you to quiet that inner critic and say, oh, boop, yes, I do. Yes, I freaking do. And when those inner critics come in, you have to really take inventory. What is it actually saying to you? Is that voice actually making you feel worse? Is it making you feel better about yourself? You all know that before I started this mindset call, I really wanted to take this year to be able to show up not only for myself, but for my team beyond just the fitness aspect. And so I'm not going to lie, I was really nervous about, implementing this mindset and leadership call as part of my program with you guys. I really was. There were thoughts of, okay, what if nobody shows up? What if nobody resonates with what I'm saying? There was all these sort of internal battles I had to deal with, guys, that I want to share with you. But then I had to go back to me, the inner Shiro, and to why I did this in the first place. My mission of Fitness Shiro, which is just about empowering beautiful individuals from within, just like yourself. So I had to hush that inner critic and say, girl, bye. Like your inner critic is a hater. It is a hater to the max. And just like a hater, you have to just roll your eyes and keep it pushing. All right. So I want us to take this time right now to reflect on our goals for this coming year, right? And, I mentioned to you all before that goals don't have to necessarily be, tangible things, right? Your goals should be really about connecting with yourself, really evaluating what makes you worthy of Maggie, what makes you worthy of Nikki. And so I'm going to take this time. We're going to take about 3 minutes or so. I want you to write down what it is that comes to your mind when you think about your goals for 2024. I know for me, launching this YouTube channel, I want to do it before the year of 2023. There are a lot of feelings that come up for me. There are feelings of excitement. There are feelings of being overwhelmed. There are feelings of potentially maybe folks might judge me because this is going to be a platform where I feel, I'd be very exposed. Those are the thoughts that come up to my head, right? So I want you to think right now, as far as 2024, what do you want to envision for yourself? And when you think about those things, what are those feelings that immediately come up? So I'll go ahead. I'm going to set the timer here for 3 minutes, and then we're just going to chat about it as a team, okay? Listen. Some mantra music here while we're writing this down. Look at that. Looked over at 7:22, my birthday. Come on, angels. Come on, ancestors. Talk to me. See, we got about 2 more minutes or so. I wanna be free, be the only thing that I see, not to rise, to fall. There is no I, except inside. Just touch on my mind. To the place where I belong. Touch on my mind. To the place where I belong. Touch on my mind. To the touch on my mind. To the place. All righty. What's up, Shiro ladies? Welcome, welcome, love. Good evening, honey. We are actually talking about what this means for us in terms of self-worth as we go into 2024. Everybody's focusing on goals and what they're trying to do, right? But what is it in terms for ourselves we can do right now as we prepare for 2024? So we're going over 6 strategies in order for us to reevaluate what's important in terms of our self-worth as we set forth into the new year. And so what I've gotten the team to do so far is to really think about what it is that you want for yourself for 2024, mind, body, soul, financially, spiritually. And we're talking about what sort of feelings come up when you write those things down. Are you feeling excited? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you, it's okay to have sort of those mixed emotions, but that's what we're going to talk about here. So I actually want to kick it off with you, Lacey, since you just joined. Since our last mindset call, honey, would you like to share a lesson learned or a win for us? And then maybe actually go into some things you've been thinking about for the new year and how you've been feeling about it.
I would say a win would be just me carving out more time for me and attempting to say no more often. Um, and I'm working on the whole business aspect we talked about last time about carving out boundaries and stuff. So that's in the works.
Mm.
I think a lesson learned would be just boundaries when it comes to my friends. I tend to be the person people lean on to vent to and help with stuff. So that's can be very draining at times. So with the new year, I'm trying to manifest healthier relationships and friendships and boundaries. Um, Financially, I have to get my number, but figure out my number for my business because I want my business to work for me next year and not the other way around. And just being like the peace thing is still going with me, just peace in different aspects of my life with my family and everything. Just hopefully having those healed conversations and being able to just move forward in a positive manner. So yeah.
You deserve all of that. You deserve all of that,
Thank
Lacey.
you.
Look at that. Emma giving you some love. I'm giving you some love as well. And I just want to let you know that we're here to support you with that. More than anybody, I know how you feel. Okay. Like I know exactly how you feel, but I promise you setting those boundaries in place will be exactly in alignment with what we talked about the last mindset call. You want what? You want peace. You want to make sure that you attract abundance, and you're taking those steps right now to do that. So how is it making you feel right now with knowing that that's something that you want to implement starting now into the new year? What are the thoughts that are coming up right now for you?
At first it was a little uncomfortable because again, I think you said this at the retreat. I don't want to let people down or feel like I'm not there for them. It's just I got my own stuff I'm dealing with, and I gotta focus on what I got going on and everything, my goals and stuff like that. But slowly but surely, it's like, okay, it has to be done. Like if they're your friends, they'll understand that, hey, sometimes you can't listen to their problems, and sometimes you just got to put that boundary up and just focus on what you got going on. So
Yeah. And over time, it'll get easier, Lacey. It will get easier. No, my therapist told me no is a complete sentence. Y'all saw Nicole during the Breakthrough Challenge. She kept it very straightforward. No is a complete sentence. And over time, the people who still ride with you, that love you and support you, they will see that if they truly do mean what they say in terms of, Lacey, you should put yourself first, you're important, they will understand why you're putting those boundaries in place. And if they don't get it, if they feel like you acting funny, you moving funny, then so be it. That's not your tribe. It's time to move on. Because anybody that loves and respects themselves and the people that are around them will understand boundaries as well. They will. And if they're not about that life, you just got to push it forward. So, it's good that you are doing this for yourself right now. I promise you, it's going to make you a better businesswoman. You're going to attract more money because of that. You're going to attract the ideal clients because of that, because you're setting those boundaries, right? I know
yeah,
for me, I've had a number of sales calls come through in these last couple of months, and I have realized that I'm like, seeing red flags early on more than I ever have. And I have not been taking everybody. Like I have not. I'd rather lose out on that opportunity or that money than to take on to someone who I just don't feel like is in alignment with Fitness Shiro. I really wouldn't. So, it's going to go beyond just you finding, space for yourself, but really putting your foot down and recognizing that your business speaks to who you are. Okay.
yeah,
So,
sure.
what about,
And
yeah,
I no, and I was gonna say one more thing.
yeah.
I'm being more open um to um to giving love another chance because I've been kind of shut off. So there's somebody there in Dallas who's been trying to talk to me for years. So I'm giving him a chance.
Okay.
So I'm working on opening it up a little more.
Yes, yes. And this goes back to, writing down, sort of those negative thoughts you've been saying about love, right? Maybe you felt like you didn't deserve love. Maybe you felt like you weren't ready for love. But take this time right now to not just only recognize that, this individual is worthy of your time and your energy and space, but really understand, like, is this in alignment with who I potentially would like to be in my life? Romantic or not, honestly. Like that's beyond just the romantic. Like we're now in a time and age where it's okay to not vibe with everybody. Not everybody's gonna like you. And that's okay. But the fact that you are giving love a shot, I think that's a beautiful thing, love, which goes back into, our conversation tonight about your self-worth. What about you, Nikki? What's coming to your head right now? I know you got a baby coming up next year, girl. New career opportunities. Like what's coming up in your head right now when you're potentially thinking about those things?
What's the question? The original question?
So we were talking about the voice that comes up inside of your head when you're thinking about like having self-doubt thoughts, or self-doubt about yourself. Like, what is that voice saying to you? Or maybe that voice is not saying that. Like what sort of feelings are coming up for you, better or worse?
There's really no self-doubts. It's just anxiousness, nervousness, you know, all that good stuff.
Hmm. And those feelings are so valid, you all. That's so valid. And this is why we want to write those things down, to be able to see it in black and white. Because when we write those things down, we really identify, where is that anxiety coming from? Was it something that maybe you dealt with in your past, in your childhood, that now you're having to deal with, is coming full surface for you? Excuse me. Jeez. Think about what it is in terms of why these feelings are coming up for you, and evaluate that, because that's where your self-worth is going to actually lie. Let's talk about number 2. All right. Number 2, in terms of ways that we can actually just not diminish our self-worth, is to build up our strengths. All right. I know a lot of times we focus on the things that we're not good at, right? Whether it's our job, our relationship, our lifestyle, but there are things that I promise you, people have told you time and time and time again about yourself, that you can say without a doubt that this is a strength of mine. Maybe you've been told that you're a good listener. Maybe you've been told that, man, you're a really hard worker. Or maybe people have told you that you do this this one thing really, really well, right? I want you all to focus on those strengths and not focus on the anxiety, not focus on being, worried, right? Or not feeling worthy of love. Focus on the things that you are good at, right? I'm sure there's something that for sure, Lacey, that you're good at, that you've heard in your prior relationships. Focus on that aspect, right? I want you all to really silence this inner critic, because this inner critic is a mofo. And I want you to focus on the things that are actually working for you. Nikki, I know you shared with the team recently that, you actually hired a career coach. You want to share a little bit more about that? Because I know there were some new skills that you had developed just from that experience alone. You want to share a little bit more about that?
I just thought it was a good opportunity, open my eyes to different ways to convey things as far as interview wise and how to track jobs. So it was a good investment.
Yeah. And sometimes learning new skills is going to require you to invest, whether that's your money, your time, your energy. You're going to have to learn those new skills in order for you to hone in on those strengths, because that's also where your self-worth is at, right? What is something that you've recently learned, Maggie, in terms of, maybe you didn't have to hire a coach, but maybe you learned something recently where, like, I'm glad I have that skill under my belt now, that you like to share with the team. Uh-oh, there you go.
Yeah. I think I'm in a life where it's not always about tangible skills. Because I think often people are orienting around careers, finances, relationships. And I feel like I'm just orienting around life. And so I feel like a skill that I, even at this age, still work on, because there are things that still pop up that are in doubt. Like, let's say you have a desire and the desire is not manifesting. Like you said, that voice goes on in your head, right? And starts doing what it does and creating an energy that, of course, makes you feel that sense of lack. And so you're more aligned to the lack of the goal as opposed to being a part of the goal. So I think about all the time about, like, if the universe is responding to what I put out, what skills do I need to work on? And it's like, it's easy to say sometimes I need to wake up and be grateful. I'm feeling that, but I'm a little edgier these days. I'm trying to be a little bit more into the risk taking, if that makes sense. Because I think it's in risk taking, not huge things. I ain't going bungee jumping, I might do zip line, but not bungee jumping. It's the small risk kind of things that create that energy and send out a signal, I think, back to the universe that you build trust.
Mhm.
You begin to build trust in yourself, and you do it in a small way. So I feel like that's a skill set that I'm still working on, and that I'm really kind of trying to bank that more, if that makes sense. Bank these kind of experiences.
It
And
does.
and then, I think that it also sets you up to be more in situations where all of a sudden you meet somebody who helps you with something else, right? Or you make a left and and all of a sudden you're just in a whole different place. So take some risks.
Yes, yes, yes. We're going to talk about that some more, Maggie. And ah, I could not have said it better. I could not have said it better. I think when it comes down to building our strengths, we really have to ask ourselves, this is gonna make me a little bit uncomfortable. All right. Is this gonna make me a little bit scared? And I mentioned this in the last mindset call. If you're just having that feeling, you playing it small, boo boo. You playing it too small. All right. And I just want to remind you that, it's important that as you explore your self-worth, that you continue to practice self-compassion. I want to ask you all something. Do you love yourself? Like, honestly, do you love yourself? See some nods. I see some non-responses. It's okay. It's okay. If there was even a slight hesitation with answering that question, it's okay. We all find moments in our lives where we don't love ourselves, right? And that's okay too. That's okay. But I'm telling you right now, it's about stepping into your empowerment. You have to understand that loving ourselves through the thick and thin, it ain't easy, but we need it. Just like Maggie was saying, that there are points where, I had to get a little uncomfortable, but I know I need this for my self-development. I need this to allow me to step into my self-worth into this lifetime. It's okay to do the mirror work. I want you all to speak love into yourself, because your self-worth is where that's at. I don't know if y'all know about this HBO show. It's called Insecure, by Issa Rae. She's one of my favorite actresses and directors out there. And in the series, she speaks to herself in the mirror often. And I remember Neil saw that. He's like, "Babe, that's you. That's literally you." And I'm like, I know. I have to face this human being that's staring back at myself and tell her, "You've got this." But more importantly, girl, be quiet about all that mess that you've been telling yourself lately. Like, I literally say that. Like, it looks kind of psychotic for maybe an outsider looking in, but it's my way of doing mirror work. It allows me to boost my confidence and get out of my freaking head. So whatever technique you need to do right now for yourself, whether that's doing the mirror work, whether that's speaking love into yourself, whether that's taking the time to journal about the feelings that are coming up right now in terms of your self-worth and where you see yourself in 2024. Because how you transform yourself from inside is how you're going to allow yourself to be this beautiful human being in 2024. Lacey, if you want a certain amount of money that you want to bring in for your business, you have to speak those words out loud and really mean that. Right? Do you need more visibility? Well, visibility is what's going to get you to get more clients, and do that. Nikki, you're getting ready into motherhood right now. This is your first baby. You're definitely gonna have to grow some thick skin, especially as a mommy. There are gonna be people that are gonna say some things about your baby. You're gonna be like, you know what? I will not tolerate that. I'm gonna stand in my power, because you know your self-worth. You're doing it right now, team. You've got to put the work in right now. And more importantly, be able to forgive yourself. The more you recognize self-compassion within yourself, you're more easy to forgive yourself, You're easier to forgive others around you. And guess what? You're not so stressed out, right? You're not so stressed out about, what is someone thinking about me, or how am I going to come across in terms of this individual or this networking event, whatever the thing may be that's bothering you. I promise you, if you show yourself some self-compassion and speak positive to yourself, this is how you're going to allow yourself to step into your self-worth. Okay? So let's talk about one of the things that I know for me personally has been an ongoing battle. And that is the ability to face some of our fears. Okay. Now I know this graphic is a little extra. I mean, she's in a box and trying to get out this cardboard box, right? But there are times where we feel, like this, where we feel fearful of things and feel trapped in our own self-worth. And Maggie just said it. You have to be able to try new things. I want you to go after what you really desire. That inner critic is saying that you're not good enough, that you're not trying. And those are all freaking lies, team. Okay? It's time to step up to the plate and recognize your power. I just said in the prior slide, if you don't know what your power is, think about what people have told you time and time again. It took me a while for me to realize that my superpower is about motivating individuals, because I needed that for myself. And so one thing I've heard time and time again is saying, I love how you motivate me. Yes, there are times I may, come across aggressive, but there are other times where I may come across gentle and soft. And that is because I want you to face your fear and go at it, knowing that you are worthy of it. Step forward. Is there something right now that you are fearful of that is not allowing you to proceed into the betterment of yourself right now? And it could be something so small, but I promise you, it has a sort of ripple effect or a butterfly effect. And as Maggie mentioned earlier, it's about taking those small habits right now in order to achieve those goals. Maggie, can you tell us a time where there was a fear that maybe you had and that you had to face for yourself? I mean, you've been on this planet for a while, child. So you can't say you didn't have any fears whatsoever. So were there some fears that you just had to face, that you had to overcome, that you want to share with the team? Uh-oh, Mag, you're on mute, baby. Let me see if I can unmute him. Ask to unmute.
Oh, it was funny. I couldn't find my cursor.
It's okay.
That's lost in the screen here.
It's okay. It's okay.
Facing your fears. One of the biggest fears I had when I moved into being an administrator, I was administrator at a school, and it was a tough school. And I was there for a long time. And then in the summer, just before school starts, I get a call from the superintendent. I'm like, shit, he never calls me.
The superintendent, yeah.
Superintendent. And he's like, I'm thinking about moving you and a few others. And I was like, what? And I'm at the tail end of my career, right? I got maybe 6 or 7 years left. And I'm thinking, I want to stay here. I want to stay here. And I could feel I was scared. I was angry. We had a conversation. And then the union president calls me. And the superintendent calls me again. And I'll be damned, he moved me to a whole new building. But it was the best thing in the world. It was the best thing in the world, because it made me shift my whole perspective of like what it was to be an administrator in a school. I had to let go of some stuff. I mean, I read the other day something, and this still sticks in my mind. The rearview mirror in a car is smaller than the windshield for a purpose. And I was like, that's so true for my career here. And I just embraced it. And I ended up being one of the best administrators in the district for moving data by the time I'm gonna go there and finish. So Whew, I was kicking and screaming though. I'm telling you.
There was resistance there, but as you just shared, like, look what came out of that. Look what came out of that. Wow. I love that story because not only in that moment you realize that this was going to mean a shift for you, but more importantly, what does this shift entail? And sometimes it's the unknown that makes us a little nervous. It's the unknown that makes us a bit fearful. But I'm going to encourage every one of you all, just through Maggie's story, that on the other side of that is victory. On the other side of that is growth and evolution and understanding. What about you, Nikki? What about you? What is a fear that you recently faced, or maybe in the past that you faced that you're like, oh, that you'd like to share?
Mine is upcoming, so I don't really have any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Jenna's coming back next month. She's a mommy. Baby E is now 3 months old. And she had the same exact sentiment. She was so scared, so nervous, right? And she loves it. She loves it. So I'm excited for her to come back and just share with the team and specifically you the experience of what that's been like for her. And hopefully that'll give you a little ease of mind. Okay. I know everyone's pregnancy is different, but just to be able to
Yeah.
have some commonality, I think will put you at ease a little bit. Okay. We got you, mama. What about you, Lace?
So, I feel like I'm always trying to conquer fears. Like this year it was getting the tattoos and stuff. But I think my biggest thing that I've grown within is me leaving my comfort zone at home and joining the military and then experiencing all the different changes with that and being away from home and being away from your comfort zone, your family and things like that. So throughout the years I've slowly overcome different challenges and fears just by being out on my own and growing within myself.
That's so true. That's so true. And that I really admire you for that. And thank you so much for your service, Lacey. My sister, she couldn't even get through the she couldn't get through the what is the first round? Is it like
Yeah.
she couldn't even get out of that. She couldn't even make it through that. I
Okay,
think
you're not the only one.
she
Okay.
couldn't get through she had overslept like 2 or 3 times. They're like, nah, you ain't girl, bye. She said it was very traumatic for her though, despite her coming back with a 6-pack and body banging and everything. She was like, that was tough. So I can't
hmm
imagine,
The the other
mental.
lady that I'm sorry, the other lady that was on the call last month with us, I can't think of her name right now, but she was on the call with us. And we were talking about
Christina?
boundaries and yeah,
Okay.
we were talking about boundaries. I don't know if it was her that told me this or if I was watching something, but the current fear I had was with my business, the prices going up. I don't. One of y'all said something about the prices, changing the prices. And then I think I watched the video saying, keep repeating to yourself, telling people that this is what the new price is going to be, and then it'll become a normal to you. So that's what I'm working on too.
It's true. It's true because I've been in this space too where I'm like, damn, like I will not settle for anything less than this amount for anybody new coming into the program. I know what I provide as a fitness coach and the value that I don't want to continue to undersell is just what you said. Like, I don't want to underprice who I am. And so, yeah, it's time for you to keep saying to yourself, I am worthy of this amount. I'm attracting these clients who are committed, who want to show up for themselves, who actually need my services and is willing to take on the critique that I give them in order for them to succeed. So for those that don't know, Lacey, you want to go and share with the team what specifically your business is? I don't want to butcher it.
I have a writing business, it's also a consulting business as well, but I do mainly ghostwriting services, resume services. I'm going to be doing more career geared towards stuff with interviews and things like that. But that's why I'm going to school for HR now to get more in-depth idea what HR deals with, but also ghost writing, content creation, academic writing for students who are in college as well. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's the gist of it.
Love that. Love that. Nikki, you and Lacey, y'all need to link up. Y'all definitely link up, you know. Nikki's in the HR department. So you all utilize each other, because the more that you all step into your empowerment, use the community that's around you. You know, one of the things that I know I've mentioned before, the group chat is there for you all, right? So you all tap into each other's resources. Like Nikki would be like, you know, for Lacey said this, let me reach out to Lacey on the group chat, right? Or maybe exchange numbers or social media information here. This is why I created this space for you all, so you guys can really use one another in the best way, of course, so that we can face those fears and really go into what is necessary to find our self-worth. I want you all to visualize who you want to be, okay? Not next year, but right now. Right now. It's not selfish. It's not selfish. I was just envisioning for myself. I want a Spanish mansion home. I want to stay in a Spanish home with the tiles and everything. And I used to like not say that out loud, because I thought that was like kind of greedy, and for me to even think about wanting those things in my life. But then I realized, I was like, no, it's not. I want those things. I've never had those things. I deserve those things. But I had to recognize what it was in terms of why I felt the way that I did. And that was because I lacked confidence within me at that point in time. I didn't love up on myself enough. Right. And so one of the things I want you all to really focus on is to just really focus on the life that you want for yourself, even if it's just taking those small steps. No one's saying I'm going to be in a Spanish mansion next year, but then again, who knows? Who knows? Life is crazy like that. But when I tell you this, I envision this with excitement. I envision this with peace and serenity. I envision this with empowerment and love. Like I'm already thinking about, you know, how I'll entertain my family and friends as they walk into my space with a wine cellar. You know, like I'm envisioning all this, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have a nice little wellness room. So when my girl Nikki comes over, she wants to sit in a sauna, she can, right? Or maybe I'll have a Zen space for my babe MA. So when they come through, we can sit down and have a little breather moment. Or maybe Lacey and I can dabble in some books. Like I envision those things, right? Like I envision those things because I really feel that I deserve it. So I'm telling you right now, if it feels selfish, if it feels like you're not worthy of those things, please do not be like that for yourself. I want you to tune into your emotions when you think about those things as well. Why do you think that you're not worthy of that? Why do you not think you're worthy of happiness and peace? Because I promise you, that's where everything starts. It's all from within. It's all from within. So take this time right now to really take inventory into what it is to have for you a better life in terms of your self-worth. And reward yourself, okay? There's nothing wrong with rewarding yourself. When I saw this picture, I literally thought about Maggie. Like, I was like, that is Maggie all the way. Like, we are on the sand. We're taking a breather. We're enjoying the breeze, right? Whatever rewarding yourself looks like is up to you. I know for me, I love to reward myself by getting me some comedy on. I need to stand up. I want to laugh before I go to bed. I've had a long day. I've been putting in work, creating content, reaching out to potential prospects, right? I deserve an ability to pour into my success and reward myself. Sometimes that may look like cooking your favorite dinner. Whatever it is that actually inspires you, makes you feel good, team, do that for yourself. I know Maggie's a lover of nature and going out for walks. That's a form of rewarding yourself. Lacey, can you think of ways that you reward yourself when you actually feel like you've accomplished something that allows you to push forward? What are some ways that you treat yourself?
So that was not the best way, but you know, I love food.
Yes.
So that would probably be my top thing. Or I've been walking the neighborhood. That help. I like getting out and clear my mind and everything. So something like that, or something, just simple. Or me just running a bath or reading a book and stuff. So
Yeah. What about you, MA? How do you reward yourself, love? You got it? Okay, you got it.
Yeah, I do. I don't do shit before 10 o'clock.
That's
I'm,
that retired life.
I'm serious. I reward myself by making sure I do not let anything in on that time period. And I'll get up whenever I want. Make sure I have whatever I drink, coffee, mushroom coffee, or whatever, I mean, that's a big reward to not let anything get in on that time, because so many people want that time in the morning. I'm not answering my phone. I might, I'll take that back. I might, depending on who it is, so.
I love that one. I love that one. What about you, Nikki? What are ways you reward yourself?
Just depends what mood I'm in. It could be food, it could be sleep, it could be watching TV, my favorite shows. It just depends what I'm in the mood for.
Yes, I love this team. I love, love, love hearing this, because rewarding yourself doesn't have to necessarily be, again, going back into those unhealthy habits, right? It doesn't mean that you always have to, lean on taking shots of alcohol or whatever the case may be. But, ask yourself, are these rewards that I'm treating myself good for my mind, my body, and my soul? So guys, that concludes our mindset call today. I really appreciate every one of y'all for hopping in. Again, going back into your goals here for 2024. Okay, stepping into your life's purpose. Understanding your calling. Let's begin with our self-worth, all right? So if you ever need to go back to watch this again, go back to those strategies. Recognize, is this in the moment right now I'm diminishing my self-worth? Okay, and if that's the case, go back to the 6 points that I gave you all. Not to say you have to use every single one on all of them that I've given you, but maybe just pick one to focus on as we go into 2024, okay? I freaking love you guys. Any final last notes, Maggie, Lacey, Nikki?
I just want to say, Nikki, you are glowing tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Really is. And Lacey, I love that art in the back. I might have to holler at you where you got that from, okay? I love you guys. Y'all stay empowered. And
have a great week.
bye,
bye,
guys.
y'all.